morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Hinsdale, where we come together in fellowship and community to reflect and explore our personal religious learnings and our ethical understandings. No matter where you come from, your race, your gender, or your beliefs or non-beliefs, you are welcome here. Please join us for coffee downstairs after the service. We'd like to meet you. And if you are a visitor, please take a green coffee cup. So we know who you are and we can greet you. I am Megan Griffin, your worship associate and medium-time member of this church. We thank Jamie Passman, who brings joy to us with his music every Sunday, and we recognize the hospitality team led by Mary Getty and our tech team geniuses, Alex and Jean. This morning, Reverend Suzelle Lynch returns to our pulpit to help us sail into the new year on the 7 C's of 2023. Welcome back, Reverend Suzelle. I know a little bit about sailing, so I'm ready and happy to be your first mate as you take the helm this morning. Reverend Suzelle comes to us from Wisconsin, where she is in semi-retirement after 17 successful years at the Brookfield Church near Milwaukee. Not only is Suzelle a minister, but she also writes songs, one of which is the song we sing most Sundays when our children leave for religious education classes. She also makes hats. At Musa Camp one year, she led a workshop where participants created hats that were very imaginative and lovely. Reverend Suzelle will give us one more sermon on February 5th, and then in March, our new contract minister, Reverend Beth Johnson, will be with us, so stay tuned. Please join me as Reverend Suzelle and I light the chalice. The words are on your wall to the right. Sure. There we go. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share.
Hello again. Good to see everybody this morning. So our opening song is the one that you guys were the first congregation to hear it, and since then it has grown. It's been shared with another church, and it has 2 more verses. Do you remember? Come on in, sit right down. Let's see, we'll have to change the thing. Yeah, see, so it's right there. Come on in, sit right down, make yourself at home, take a look around. Everywhere you look, our friendly faces. Everywhere you look, our friendly faces. Isn't that a wonderful thing? So good to be together today. Okay, so let's, so pause. How do I go back, gentlemen? Do I hit the back key? Nope. Is it possible to go back? Did I hit the wrong button? I did. No, I went forward. There we go. Okay, so please rise in body or in spirit and join in on this one. Okay. Come on in, sit right down, make yourself at home, take a look around. Everywhere you look, our friendly faces. Isn't that a wonderful thing? There you go. So good to be together today. Come on in, bring your heart, bring everything you feel. We can make a start. Catch your neighbor's eye and see. to be together today. Good job.
In spite of the past 2 years of COVID, isolation, and many meetings, our church life has continued to be active. Please check the news and notes online every Friday for our upcoming week's events. If you wish to receive our news and notes and other announcements via email, please sign our visitor's book at the desk in the living room in the back, and consider joining one or more of our activities. We have groups on meditation, play reading, nonfiction books, men's discussion group, wise elders, anti-racial issues, animal ministry, breakfast get-togethers, and many other committees. These groups are a great way to get to know other members of the church and a way to practice our values. And over the last few weeks, we have been acknowledging someone who has been in the church or has been an active member of the church that's been doing a lot. So the person that we're acknowledging today has been a member of the church for less than a decade, but has been a huge supporter of many things. This person sings in the choir, is on the membership team, runs a hospitality team, likes to make sure the visitors have signed the visitor book and are greeted downstairs. This person has also helped out with the finances, is on the board, and is trying to come up with new and innovative ways to get people involved in coming to the church. This person has a hard time saying no. I'm sure I've missed a few other things that this person has done. And this person has also just helped run a very successful New Year's Day brunch. We recognize Darren Howard. We'll do this. There he is, actually in the back, For all the hard work and dedication you have put into this church, we thank you all for the help and smiles you put on our faces.
And newly married. Somebody's turning red.
I didn't put that in there. For today's service, we'd like everyone, adults, teens, and children, to all stay together here in this room. Sailing into the new year takes a crew of all ages. I also want to let you know about the organization we are supporting for the funds from our offering this week for UUANI. I think we have Reverend Scott Ansing here to say a few words.
Good morning. It's good to be with you again here. It's been 3 years since I was last here, so it's good to be invited back again. Thank you. I'm Scott Ossing. I am the co-director, actually the director now, of the Unitarian Universalist Advocacy Network of Illinois, UUANI, Working for Justice Together. We're starting our 10th anniversary this year, being your statewide UU Justice and Advocacy Network. We started in October 2013 with the marriage equality in Springfield, and UCH was there at the beginning among the 300 people and 23 congregations at Abraham Lincoln UU congregation in Springfield. Since then, we've mobilized UUs for various campaigns in collaboration with partners across the state. Economic justice campaigns like raising the minimum wage with the Poor People's Campaign, climate justice campaigns to create jobs and put us on a path to clean energy, immigration campaigns like closing immigration detention centers with the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights, carceral justice campaigns like ending cash bail with Community Renewal Society and the UU Prison Ministry of Illinois and others. And of course, that campaign is still ongoing given the court battles that's happening. And we work on mobilizing around other issues like reproductive justice, gun safety, and other issues as they arise. All those are the outside part of our work, using our power to advocate with those on the margins of society. But the core of our work is really our inside work of organizing congregations, building our power by building relationships among UU congregations. We seek to develop leaders, foster one-to-one conversations, and build teams and networks to put our power into action in the public sphere. And that's just what you've done here at UCH, if I'm not mistaken. You launched one of our first one-to-one campaigns among Illinois congregations back in 2016. You have developed a strong social justice program, and particularly your partnership with the UU Prison Ministry of Illinois, engaging many of your members in pen pal relationships and working on legislation to make parole a possibility for those who are elderly and still incarcerated. The inside relational work, building relationships, and the outside work of advocacy come together in our electoral advocacy work, engaging with voters. And again, you pioneered that here at UCH in 2018 with your Voting Our Values campaign. We rebranded that as Vote Love in 2020, and again in 2022 as part of the national UU the Vote campaign, mobilizing UUs across the state to have conversations with their neighbors, to write postcards, to make phone calls and texts, to sponsor forums, reaching tens of thousands of voters, literally, through those campaigns. And while our outside work is always sought to be accountable to partner organizations representing those who are marginalized, we have more recently been working on making our inside work more accountable as well through an accountability council of BIPOC UUs who are advising us on our vision and goal setting work, and our anti-racist capacity building project, which again has been pioneered here at UCH with Marion Honnell Wilson and others. Developing leaders, organizing congregations, partnering with other organizations for accountability, and mobilizing for action. All these are part of our mission of building power among UU congregations in Illinois to accountably advocate with those on the margins of society. And I'd like to think they're a powerful way of engaging and advocating for our UU values in the democratic process, our values of worth and dignity, of justice and equity, of compassion and interdependence, a way of living out our core value of love, which of course is justice in public. So thank you on behalf of myself and the 20-some other congregations around the state who are working together for justice in Illinois. Thank you for your ongoing and generous support of our statewide work together. Thank you.
Each Sunday, we come together, bringing us joys, concerns, challenges, and blessings. If you have something either weighing or dancing on your heart this morning, you are invited to come up to light a candle. If you wish to share a name, a word, or a short phrase, but because we are broadcasting live on YouTube and open to public viewing, please use first names only.
This is for my son Brian's grandfather, who's in real bad shape. They don't even know if he's going to last much longer.
I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Suzanne, and this candle is for Kim. Get well soon, Kim, and go home.
Candle is for my daughter Melanie. May she find out what's wrong with her.
My name's Darren. I lit one candle of joy to welcome all our visitors today. Lucienne, Christine, Kristen, you guys are not really visitors anymore. Kevin and Josh and Paige, Tammy and Mike over here. So welcome to all of you. Oh, and the Roos family is here today. Welcome. It's good to see you guys. And goodness, I'm blanking on names. Dan and Lisa are here today too, so welcome back.
Hi, I'm Marion. So my husband had a heart attack on Christmas morning, and so, well, we didn't put it in news and notes because whatever, but anyway, so he's doing fine. So this is just to express gratitude to the health professionals who came in and cared for him that day, and he's doing really well, and so thanks for all your support. Thank you.
We light the last 3 candles for this community for any thoughts and concerns that are too small or too big or small to be said. Light a second candle for the world and that people know who they're working for, and a third candle for all of us that we may be well in the new year.
I invite you to center yourself now and breathe comfortably in whatever way works for you, as we just pause for a simple blessing of all that has been shared and all that we hold in our hearts today. Spirit of life and love, web of life that connects each of us to all of us. Great One, you who are part, you of which we are part of and responsible for, web from which we are never separated. Today, we ask for the resources to be present to ourselves and each other. And we invite peace to come into our hearts and minds, to allow us to trust in the caring and leadership of our companions on the path. We ask for the compassion to hold all of the sharings of our friends and neighbors here, to hold it with love in our hearts and in our minds. Web of life, you from whom we are never separate. We thank you for the insight of collective wisdom shared here, for all the possibilities, for all the gifts we have to share. Shalom, blessed be, Ashe, and Amen.
Good morning and Happy New Year to everyone. Have you ever wondered why we celebrate the New Year? It's not like something magic happens at midnight on December 31st when January 1st comes along and turns 22 into 23. And yet, history tells us that New Year's is one of the oldest and most universal human festivals. There's scarcely a people, ancient or modern, who have not observed the New Year in one form or another. I've read that it was first observed 4,000 years ago by the ancient Babylonians, but they didn't celebrate it in the winter. They celebrated it in the spring, at the time of the first new moon after the spring equinox. And while that might seem weird to us, for the ancient people, the time when new life began to sprout from the earth definitely seemed like the time for a new year to begin. At other points in history, people declared that the winter solstice was the beginning of the new year. We didn't get New Year's on January 1st until the time of the Roman Empire. In fact, it was 2,067 years ago that the Roman Emperor Julius Caesar decided to change the calendar entirely. It used to be that the calendar months matched the cycles of the moon, which are about 29 and a half days long. But that calendar often got out of whack with the seasons of the year, which depend on the sun, not the moon. It didn't help that Roman authorities who were in charge of the calendar were kind of power hungry and sometimes just sneaked extra days into the calendar to extend political terms or interfere with elections. Imagine that. Julius Caesar didn't like this, of course, so he grabbed the power back from them and set up a whole new calendar. On that calendar, the first month of the year was named January, after the Roman god Janus. Janus was known as the god who keeps watch over gates and doorways and thresholds, and he has two faces, one looking forward and one looking backwards. Now, we might not immediately think of changing the calendar from December 31st to January 1st as being like going through a doorway, but in a way, it sort of is. At the end of the year, we cross over into the next year. And in ancient days, crossing such a boundary or threshold was considered a powerful and risky thing to do. What was risky about it? Well, it was kind of like standing on the deck of a boat and trying to cross over to another boat. If you've ever done this, you know that both boats bob up and down on the water, making it hard to keep your balance. It's good to have someone help you cross over so you don't fall into the water. And it's also good to wear a life preserver, just in case you do fall in. In ancient days, people believed that you had to cross from the old year to the new year in just the right way, or perhaps you would have bad luck in the new year. That's why there are so many different rituals and traditions and superstitions about the new year. In Japan, for example, people hold forget the year parties to say goodbye to the problems and concerns of the past year and prepare for a new beginning. Misunderstandings and grudges are forgiven, and houses are scrubbed clean for a fresh start in the new year. In Sicily, one of the traditions is to place shiny coins from the current year on the windowsill before midnight on New Year's Eve to bring good luck as the old year passes to the new one. In Spain and some other Spanish-speaking countries, the ritual on New Year's Eve is to eat 12 grapes at midnight, which is supposed to bring you 12 happy months in the coming year. Many different nations and cultures around the world celebrate by making lots of noise. In Finland, fireworks are legal only on New Year's Eve, and the cities have big professional fireworks shows at night. In Iran, the tradition used to be to bang pots and pans at midnight. These kinds of traditions are said to come from olden days, when noise and fire were supposed to scare away the kind of spirits that would trip you up or cause trouble as you were crossing from one year to the next. But even if we aren't superstitious anymore, the truth is that human beings like to make meaning. We like the idea that certain dates and times have special meaning, like birthdays and anniversaries and holidays. Holidays help us shift away from the usual busyness of life and hear stories and repeat traditions that connect us with the cycles of the earth, our families, our religious heritage, and the great human themes of freedom and responsibility. So today, we'll honor the new year that began last Sunday. We'll balance, like the Roman god Janus, on the imaginary threshold, looking back and looking forward, and then see what happens next. I think it's going to be fun, and because we're going to need some helpers later on in the service, I invite all the kids here, and there finally are some kids here, to pay special attention to the times when we might need you to help out. So thank you.
Thank you, Pam. I do think this is going to be fun, so get ready. So I have a reading to share with you that comes from one of my colleagues. His name is Reverend Robbie Walsh, and it's called It Matters. So here's what he writes. I knew a man who had printed on his stationery this proverb, "Nothing is settled, everything matters." It established a certain mood for reading his letters, as if to say, what you are about to read is to be taken seriously, but it's not final. I remember him and this proverb sometimes, especially when it seems impossible to change the world or myself in any significant way. Times like the beginning of New Year's. Sorry, Jim, I say, it's not true that nothing is settled. In the past year, choices have been made, losses have been suffered, there has been growth, there have been commitments and betrayals. None of that can be undone. A year ago, no one knew whether this year one person would become pregnant and another person would have cancer, another would take a new job and another would have an accident. But now, it is settled. One day this year, I was present just when someone needed me, and on another day, I was busy doing something else when I was needed. One day, I said something to a friend that injured our relationship. Another day, I said something that enabled a person to see life in a whole new way. The best and worst of those days is now written. All my tears of joy or sorrow cannot erase this. If I stay with my meditation long enough, the reply comes from Jim. Robbie, you have misunderstood the proverb. It is true that you cannot escape the consequences of your actions or the chances of the world, but what is not settled is how the story turns out. What is not settled is what the meaning of your life will be. The meaning of a life is not contained in one act or one day or one year. As long as you are alive, the story of your life is still being told, and the meaning is still open. As long as there's life in the world, the story of the world is still being told. What is done, but nothing is settled. Say it with me, nothing is settled. Thank you. And if nothing is settled, then everything matters. Every choice, every act in this year of 2023 matters. Every word, every deed is making the meaning of our lives and telling the story of the world. Everything matters in this new year. And more importantly, everything matters today. And here ends our reading.
Before we can sail in the 7 seas, which Reverend Suzelle will introduce in a moment, we have an 8th C to take care of, contribution. This is the time in the service where we invite each other to share our resources, to contribute financially to the support the work of this church. Let us now say these offering words together. This church is made up of all of us. It is what we learn together, the work we do together, the fun we have together. It is what we share with one another, with the people around us, and with all the world. Thank you for your generosity.
Just to be clear, all the cash and contributions today will go to UUANI. If you wish to make your pledge payment, please write pledge on your check.
Thank you for your generosity to the ministry at UUANI, UU Association, no, UU Advocacy Network of Illinois. It was great to hear what you had to say about it, Scott. Sounds like a very powerful organization that this congregation has participated with in a really beautiful way. So I appreciate that. Being from Wisconsin, we got our own stuff. But if I was in Illinois, I'd be with you. So, the 7 C's of the new year. As you heard from Pam just a minute ago, even though that turning of the calendar from one year to the next is an artificial division of time, our innate human longing for growth and progress kind of makes every new year a mile marker on the life journey. I don't know how 2022 was for you, but for me, it was both capital W wonderful and capital T taxing. Just think of what's been happening in our world. Everything from the insurrection in January, the insurrection attempt last January, to the war in Ukraine, to increasing climate chaos and the accompanying human suffering. I've had a lot going on in my personal life as well. Perhaps you have too. And yet here we are, a week into 2023, and who knows what will unfold. I have the feeling it's going to continue to bring us opportunities to practice courage, creativity, and compassion, to grow in resilience and resistance, and to move past our limitations in the service of bending the moral arc of the universe toward greater justice. As Pam noted earlier, the Romans did name this first month of the year after Janus, that two-faced god that evokes the idea of threshold or doorway. The call to cross a threshold or a boundary is a recurring theme in the world's myths and stories. It's often what the hero or shero of the story has to do to complete their quest, to level up in life, or to bring peace to a troubled land. Janus also symbolizes what it takes to make the crossing, that we have to first recognize that the door is there and not rush past, that we must have the courage to open the door without yet knowing what's on the other side, and that we have to pause on the threshold, perhaps with one foot in each world, like crossing from one boat to the next, to remember who we have been, who we are now, and who we're longing to be. Throughout human history, crossing a threshold has been considered not only risky but sacred, an act to be accompanied by rituals of protection and celebration. That's actually the basic reason behind New Year's resolutions. We promise, I'll be good, I'll improve myself, in exchange for a safe transition across that boundary. But we're in luck. There will be no writing of resolutions today. In the spirit of our reading from Robbie Walsh, that everything matters but nothing is settled, that every word, every deed is making the meaning of your life, telling the world's story, we're going to call upon 7 C's to help us sail further into 2023. So, the 7 C's, and you'll see them on your little sheet of paper: consider, crow, compliment, conciliate, cast off, cross, and challenge. And then there's an 8th or perhaps a 9th, since we already had contribute. We'll celebrate. So, let's get ready. Let's sail those 7 C's. Are you ready?
Yes.
Pam's ready. First of all, if you are at home watching this service, please make sure you have a piece of paper and a writing instrument. If you're here in person, you should have gotten a little sailboat paper and something to write with. If you don't have it, put your hand in the air and our fabulous ushers will bring it to you. Yeah, keep them up. Let's pause for a minute while we get papers to everybody. And these are special papers. While we're handing out those papers, let me say a second important thing. I hope that you enjoy what we're about to do. I'd love it if you just went for it and did everything that we've got planned, but we don't believe in forced participation in Unitarian Universalist congregations. How much you engage with this New Year ritual is up to you. If you choose, though, to not sail the 7 C's, I trust that you'll stay quietly in your seat, just enjoy observing the people around you. But really, participate as much or as little as feels right to you. Do we have everybody with their papers? You're out of papers. There's a few more up here.
Is there some here?
Got a good crowd today. Actually, I've even got a few more, too. How many more do we need? A little person can have a paper, too. If you need one, it's really okay. Even if you don't know how to write, it's still okay to have a paper. Drawing is accepted. Okay, I think we've got it. So, I know we've been sitting for quite a while, but just settle into your chair for just a minute. We're going to do some considering. That's our first C. And considering actually has a couple of parts. The first thing I'd like you to consider is, what was your best accomplishment in 2022? Or you might note down, what really great thing did you do for someone else in 2022? As you consider, I want you to crow a little bit about this. That's our second C, or our 4th C, or one of our C's. Brag, crow about what you accomplished this year for yourself or someone else. You know, every big sailing vessel has a crow's nest up top. So you got to rise up with pride in yourself and crow onto your paper. My thing I wrote down, and afterwards I wrote, "Yay me, I rock." So crow about yourself. Our second question is to write down a compliment. Who in your life would you compliment for some fabulous thing they did in the past year? Take a note and compliment someone lavishly on your paper. Someone else besides yourself. And it's okay if you have more than one. The fourth C is conciliate, or conciliation, which is basically just a fancy word for making peace with yourself or someone else. Consider, is there anything negative from 2022 that you're still holding on to? Is there something or someone you need to forgive? Or something you know you need to let go of? Might write that down on your paper as well. We just sailed through the first 4 C's. How do you feel about that? Is it a thumbs up? Sideways? Okay. Thumbs down, some of us? Okay. So, hang on to your sailboat and your life preserver, because you're going to need them in just a moment. Now is the time when we're going to need some helpers, because our next 3 C's are calling to us. They are casting off. Of course, we cast off when the boat leaves the dock. Our casting off will be a little different than that. Crossing and challenge. Before we get up and do that, I need 5 helpers. And if you're a kid, this is the time. You don't have to. We take adults as well. At least 5. We could do with 6. Maybe. I see 3. Okay, 1 more. Oh, and a small person, which is fabulous. We might need an adult, although Megan and Pam could help. So first, I need somebody else. Want to come? You want to come with your small person? Okay, all right. I need 2 people who are going to create our golden door. And Megan knows how to do that too. So maybe, let's see, yeah, 2, right. So this is our portal, the golden, sparkly, sacred door. And now I need 1 or 2 people to staff the magical casting off vessel with the fabulous lightsaber. Because casting off takes some magic. We also need 1 or 2 people to staff the challenge station. Okay, get the challenges, Pam. Gotta have those challenges. Who's gonna be our challenge station? Oh no, that's not challenge. That's the stuff in the basket. Yeah, and then we have instruments. The celebration is the last one. Yeah. Okay, challenge. Okay, you're going to hand out the challenges. And then we've got the celebration station, helping hand out the instruments to people. Maybe we can have an adult with our small person. Oh, here comes somebody. Oh, or Pam. All right, we've got everybody. So here's what we're going to do next. First, okay, and Megan, are you ready to demonstrate? Got your paper? Okay. So first, we're going to go to the magic vessel with our papers and cast them off and stir with the stick and see what happens. All of 2023 is disappearing into the magic vessel. And then, oh, before we do this, forgot to give you the floor, Megan. Sometimes this is hard. We're having fun with this, but letting go of stuff can really be hard. If you don't want to cast your 2023 into the magic vessel, please know that's okay. You can do this at home, but it's really okay to not let go. I know some of the things in here are hard for me to let go of. So, if you're at home, this part will be different for you unless you have a magic vessel and a lightsaber at home. What I recommend for your casting off process is just to tear up your paper, kiss it goodbye, and throw it in the trash. And for those of us who are here, you might actually be a little serious about your casting off as well. Consider, and then into the vessel. All right. And now, Megan, the sacred portal. How are you going to go through? Okay, good one. You made it. But what happens next? Will you accept the random challenge? Okay, you've got your challenge. And now you get your instrument. And what you're going to do when you get your instrument is start to play it on your way back to your seat. Okay, so is this clear? All right. So we're going to start. We'd like you to come down this aisle so we don't have people going backwards through the magic portal. So as you're ready, come down this aisle and come through the process. And magic portal people, you can make it really low. Okay, please come forward, be gentle with one another, give each other space. But as you're ready, and our sound will grow as we go. Remember, reverence is called for. Remember to give the person in front of you space to go through the portal on their own. Patience is like the work of nature. don't think we can get rid of the old year unless we make a whole lot more noise. I forgot to tell you we were going to keep doing this until we heard the sound of the bell. Thank you to all our helpers. You can put down the portal. We're closing the portal. Any last portal goers? You have sailed the 7 seas and crossed safely into the depths of 2023. May those 7 seas, considering, crowing, complimenting, conciliating, casting off, crossing, taking up the challenge, and celebrating, may they guide you as you navigate our new and beautiful year. Now, please join me in speaking aloud our 3 cheers for 2023 on the screen. May the sweetness of the past year warm me, and may all its pain and bitterness leave me. May I sail into 2023 with vibrant hope. May blessings abound for all living things. Shalom, blessed be, Ashe, and Amen. Now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, The Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time. A ceaseless flow of endless time, no one can check or stay. We'll view the past with no regret, nor future with dismay. The past and future ever meet in the eternal now. They'll make each day a thing complete, shall be our new year vow. As you go forth into this day, take those 7 seas with you. Let go fully of what you have cast off. Set your sails for the place where your heart and the world's needs meet. Shalom, blessed be, Ashe, and Amen.